cast and crew working on one of the most famous location sets in the world. The bay was the lifeblood of this meeting room. Without the bay, there would be no meeting room, for this was the production office of internationally renowned, globally syndicated soap opera Falcon Bay. And it was in Meeting Room 6 that the producers, writers, and executives met daily to create and manage the stories designed to keep their millions of viewers tuned in. The secondary purpose of So Much Glass was to show the teams outside the building that the creative minds behind Falcon Bay were always working and always watching. A huge white oval table surrounded by neon pink chairs that were neither too hard nor too comfortable was central. A variety of people occupied the seats, and the gentle hum of conversation filled the air, mixed with the sounds of notes being flicked through, laptops being typed on, and phone messages pinging. The two walls that bookended the view of the bay were white. One had floating shelves stacked with awards of every shape and size, from traditional golden Emmys to ornate crystal domes and the classic gold-faced BAFTA. The opposite wall held photos of Falcon Bay's current cast, each pinned to a large-scale poster of the set and flecked with post-it notes which gently flapped in the breeze from the aircon. The room was subtly lit, as most of the time the natural light was sufficient, but when storm clouds gathered, the automatic lights faded up so gradually that those in the room never noticed the change. Meeting Room 6 was, without question, where the magic happened. The door swung open and all eyes were on Jake Monroe as he strode into the room, ignored the packed table, and silently walked towards the storyboard, which was on the wall just by the entrance. He stood frozen, staring at the scant words written there. With his muscular legs clad in tight jeans and his broad shoulders encased in a black leather jacket, he looked much younger than his 60 years. Jake's presence had always been formidable, but having recently been promoted to controller of drama by the network's new owners, whom nobody else in the room had yet met, he'd acquired an air of even greater untouchability and arrogance. He was at the very top of the food chain, and he made sure everyone knew it. After what felt like hours but was actually less than 2 minutes, he half turned towards the others. "Is this it?" he asked, pointing at the board and meeting every person's eyes one by one, sending shivers down their backs as his gravelly voice echoed round the pin-droppingly quiet space. The last face his gaze rested on was a mousy woman, hair in a bun, thick glasses, and a figure that unkind people would say was dumpy. Her chair was directly under the air conditioner, and she was feeling the chill. Or maybe it was the ice emanating from her boss. Whatever reason, she pulled a beige wrap around her shoulders. The sight of its tassels jingling infuriated Jake. "What's the matter with you?" he growled. The woman's face went pale as she shuffled in her seat, causing the tassels to jiggle even faster. I was cold, so I..." Before she could finish stuttering her reply, he closed in on her and was now right next to her chair. "Damn right you are," he snarled, then looked over at the rest of the table. "And you're not the only one." Earlier that day, Jake had sent a drop-everything emergency meeting summons to all writers, producers, and casting execs, ordering them to gather in Room 6, and signing it off with the word pronto. 3 hours later, here he was, surveying what was supposedly the country's finest creative minds. But all Jake could see were blank stares and a shivering mouse in cashmere. He glanced out at the angry sea. Waves were thrashing the shoreline boulders. A flash storm was approaching, both outside in the real world and right here in the world of make-believe. Someone was going to drown. Falcon Bay was approaching its 40th anniversary, but where once it had won every accolade and award under the sun, now it had lost more than half its viewers. Not only was it being ripped apart on home soil, where they could usually expect a bit of support, but the international press had started hammering the show too. And once they had you in their sights, it was usually the beginning of the end. The network, which made several popular and cheaply put together reality shows, but only one soap opera, had been forced